But first, we start with President Biden and the First Lady in Uvalde, Texas, where they comforted families of victims and survivors of last week's mass shooting. Earlier Sunday, the Bidens visited a memorial site at Robb Elementary School where the gunman killed 19 children and 2 adults. This is the second time this month the Bidens have traveled to a city in mourning following a mass shooting. I want to bring in CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca. Zeke Miller also joins us on the phone. He is a CBS News contributor and White House correspondent for the Associated Press. Both are in Uvalde, Texas. Omar, I'm going to start with you. Tell us, what's the mood like in Uvalde now?
Well, right now, Lana, it's morning, and they're trying to recover after their town was ripped apart. Behind me is the memorial, and just a few hours ago, they actually opened it up where people could come in here and put their flowers down before this was all blocked off. Just to give you an idea, we can't pan over to show you, but there is a line that is thousands deep of people, not just from Uvalde, but from this community here in South Texas, who are in this 90-plus degree heat, coming here with flowers and stuffed animals because this affected them deeply.
Well, we know it's only a town of 16,000. It's a small community. Tell us, Omar, how have they responded to the Biden's visit?
Well, when President Biden and the First Lady showed up, there was actually cheering when he came out. And right behind him was Texas Governor Greg Abbott. There was audible boos when Governor Abbott was here. They were yelling at the president, please do something, everywhere he went. At the church, we understand they did yell, do something, and he stood up and told them, we will.
Zeke, I want to bring you into this conversation. What has President Biden said about the missteps in the law enforcement response to this shooting?
We really haven't heard from President Biden on that. His only comments really publicly about the shooting, about the actions of police officers came Wednesday before we learned a lot of those troubling details about the actions of officers inside the school last Tuesday. The president is scheduled to meet with some law enforcement officials later this afternoon here in Uvalde. So it'll be very interesting to see who he meets with, and also does he have a message afterwards. We do know that the Department of Justice said they're going to conduct an independent investigation at the request of the city's mayor into the actions of the law enforcement and release its results publicly.
And Omar, as you heard Zeke mention, the Department of Justice is planning to conduct a review of the law enforcement response to the shooting. I'm wondering what more you've learned there following this for multiple days now.
Well, a lot of people here are asking the question, as are journalists who are here on the scene, what's the difference between a review and an investigation? Well, this review, from what we understand, is basically just an independent review of the police response and actions that day. The big question is this going to have any teeth? They're going to try to basically set out a proper timeline from an independent organization here that's not from like the city or the school or the county or the state. This is, a federal review. But people here, they want not just a review, they want action. Whether any action is taken from this, we're going to have to wait and see.
Speaking of action, Zeke, President Biden has made it clear he's in favor of stricter gun laws. But is he pushing for new legislation in Washington?
The White House isn't throwing its weight yet behind any specific piece of legislation. It's watching these negotiations that have been taking place sort of somewhat informally on Capitol Hill since the shooting last Tuesday, with great interest. And there's a little bit of optimism that maybe there could be some progress on that front, and with the full intention that they will ultimately support it. But they right now, use the president's role of sort of more speaking to the public, trying to heal this community, and he'll get on legislation once lawmakers get around to making some sort of agreement and writing it.
I want to mention to our viewers that Zeke is on the phone as he's traveling with the president today. Zeke, is there a sense in the administration that new gun laws are actually possible right now, or is that just more talk?
There's some mild optimism, hope, but we've seen this play out, unfortunately, over time and time again over the last several years. The White House is aware of the political dynamics. Their hope is that, the immensity, the enormity of this tragedy could break some of the intractable nature of Washington around this issue, that maybe there could be some sort of compromise where one hasn't broken through before. They're not holding their breath, and they're fairly clear-eyed about the challenges that they face, but they're hopeful that maybe something could come of this.
And one last question for you, Omar. You've been there talking to people in Uvalde. What do they want to see coming from the government?
Well, at this point, they're calling at the state level for something to be done. I was at a press conference on Friday with Governor Greg Abbott, and there was a state senator, Roland Gutierrez, who walked up to Governor Abbott and said, with all due respect, I'm not trying to interrupt your press conference, but we want a special session to call the legislators back to Austin to do something about this. The governor is calling for mental health evaluations, increased funding for that, but the Democrats in this state want some of the peel back of some of the gun loosening laws that have been passed here in the state of Texas. But if you paid any sort of attention to the politics here in the state, it's a Republican-controlled governor's seat, Senate, and the state. A Democrat hasn't won an elected seat here statewide since 1994. It's basically a non-starter here in the state of Texas. If this changes it, there's going to be a lot of people who want it, but they'll also be surprised.
All right. Omar and Zeke, thank you both.